The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Ketchum Rural Fire Protection District, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36141. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Located on the right and left side front frame rail, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks. Moving up to the bumper, on the face of the bumper, you'll find dual air horns. Directly in the center, you'll find your PA speaker electronic siren. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find two release mechanisms to gain access into the tubbed hose storage location. As we move to the outer edge of the cab, you'll find your marker turn indicator light, and just inside of that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Directly above that, you'll find a turn indicator and emergency warning light. Unit identifier engine 3, 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find your mirrors housing flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights. On a slight angle, you'll find forward-facing floodlights. Moving up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the very center area is where you'll find the light bar opticom. Let's take a look at some full view pictures here. First, starting with a full picture of the apparatus from the driver's side. Let's take a look at specifically the cab area. And now let's look at the body section. We'll move around now to the passenger side, full picture, cab section, and then body area. Let's go back and take a look at the front bumper again. This is that bumper extension we previously talked about. Once we gain access inside the tubbed storage location, you'll find a swivel discharge 1.5 inches. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, manual windows, and a grab handle. Let's go ahead and move now to the lower portion of the seat. On the pedestal of the seat area is where you'll find, when plugged into Shoreline Power, your battery volt system will show the display of charge and activate the battery charging system. At about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation, the VIN number, fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid type. Also, about the left knee of the operator, you find the master battery switch, the engine, transmission, and JBS J1939 diagnostic port, ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. Let's move up from this location and slightly to the right, where you'll find the interaxle differential lock indicator and switch. You'll also find the flat mirror and convex mirror control. As we move to the dash cluster on the left, you'll find the ignition and start switch, a small switch labeled EM, which will allow you to engage all emergency lights or disengage, headlight and panel switch. To the right side, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle indicator and also switch. As we move to the left, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temperature gauges. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Located in the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information about your vehicle will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move slightly to the right of the dash area, where you'll find your yellow diamond pull to apply your system parking brake, push to release. As we move to the right, you'll find your dump master, driver's side dump valve, rear dump valve, and passenger side dump valve. Moving down on the same plane, we're going to find the stationary OK to pump and roll indicator, water pump and foam system switch. Moving further to the right, you'll find the off-road traction and front wheel lock. Just to the right, you'll find the windshield wiper fluid and also activation for your windshield wipers. Engine brake on and off switch, settings for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, a differential lock on and off, differential lock indicator for activation, tire chains, and mirror heat. Let's move just to the right again, where you'll find once again the pull to apply or system parking brake and push to release. Just to the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, with an informational note here to pump in neutral. Also some caution and warning placards. As we move further to the right, you'll find climate control for defrost, heat, and air conditioning. Slightly to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker module. Moving further to the right, 12-volt access via barrel style and USB, and a push-button air horn. As we look overhead of the operator, you'll find a yellow placard indicating the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating of the vehicle. Also a set of switches. These are your emergency lights. We have emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Moving further to the right, additional switches for high beam flash, opticom, and a selector switch for air horn or electric horn. Scene lights, front flood, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, and load manager. When any of these switches have been activated, the green light will illuminate, indicating the switch is active. Moving further to the right, you'll find a digital pump pressure readout, also tank vision for water and foam level indicators. Also in the center, you'll find do not move your apparatus if this light is lit, indicating that you have a compartment or door open. Seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they are in the seat and belted. As we move to the center, you'll find provisions here for map book storage. As we move to the exterior, easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are your door locks and they are also keyed. Grab handles at all points of entry for firefighters for gaining entry and exit out of the cab. Shoreline inlet, auto eject. As we move down to the wheel area, you'll find a sight gauge and then also Goodyear tires. Let's move to the rear section of the cab. Affixed to the door panel in the rear section, all of our safety and warning placard information, grab handle, manual window controls, door locks and latch, and additional grab handle. In the center between the two firefighter seats, you'll find a roller compartment housing shelving, and also at the very bottom section, top section, you'll find a shoreline outlet. When plugged into shoreline power, that will become active. At the rear portion of the engine, lift and turn latch gains you access for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Let's move back exterior now. First, starting at the very top section with your crosslays, there are two in the upper portion. We have crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. As we move downward, you'll find an additional crosslay and also backboard storage. I do have a few warning placards, one indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement, and then also fall hazard, always face the vehicle while climbing on or off. Let's take a look at the pump panel here. This is the notch section. You'll find two 2.5-inch discharge locally controlled end gauges. Also a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Be cautious when opening caps. They may be under pressure. Also your Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is your large diameter pump inlet. Also a warning regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also your lever for draft foam tank, and also pickup tube. To the right, your driver's side auxiliary inlet, ball valve, locally controlled female inlet, and all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the pump panel area, we'll start at the very top section, the upper left-hand corner. In the center is where you're going to find an LED light indicating that it is okay to pump.
you've properly engaged your pump. That light is indicating that. A foam level A tank indicator. In the gray area, you'll find your master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. In between the two of those master gauges are your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing for vacuum and pressure. As you move to the upper right, you'll find a visual indicator, PCM fault, and then also an audible alarm. The outer edge of that alarm bezel does rotate, allowing it to dampen or brighten the sound. As we move down, you'll find all of our discharges. They are color-coded and labeled, in addition with foam capable if they are red in color. You'll find your Pierce pressure throttle governor. Incorporated in that is a water tank LED indicator as the tank level. As we move downward, you'll find an open and close for the rear inlet. Also your minimum operation maintenance schedule. Switch pump engaged. As we move to the left, you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line and tank to pump. There are 3 electric control valves located on this side: the deluge, passenger side number 2, and large diameter. You also have a Husky foam system. This is the control module for that Husky foam system. There are instructions on the placard itself. To the right, you have a fire pump primer, which is an air prime, push to prime, instructions just below for best practices 1000 RPMs. Also, specification and instructions for your Husky foam system. On the vertical side sheet, you'll find your driver's side and passenger side scene light switches. As we move down to the bottom, a warning placard indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after receiving proper training. A pan door to gain access behind the pump panel area, and then all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the pan door area. This is your foam fill here. This is also the operation for your foam system, and then also your override for your pump. As we move into the compartments, I would like to point out this is your battery charger. When plugged into shoreline power, this becomes active. Let's go back and talk about the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. The associated GPM is located on the left of the placard. Associated RPM is located on the right of the placard at a governed speed while in pump at 2,100 RPMs. Let's go ahead and move now through some of the body compartments. First, you can see we have 2 pull-out trays. These have a release mechanism on the left. Just underneath, you'll find your reel rewind. This is a foot switch. As we move up, you'll find SCBA bottle storage in the front of the axle area. You'll also find a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. It is the blue cap. As we look down to the tandem axles, you'll find Goodyear tires, steel wheels. As we move in between the two of those, you'll find the driver's side dump valve. You'll also find to the rear SCBA bottle storage location and the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel fill. It is the silver cap. Moving to the rear compartment, you have a pull-out tray on the lower section. At the very bottom, you'll find a drain and then also your wheel chock storage location. Inside the compartment, you'll find a shoreline outlet. Once again, when plugged into shoreline power, that outlet will become active. The tray on the bottom does lock into position. The release is on the far right. Just underneath, you'll find the rear inlet air bleed. General view here of all compartment doors open on the driver's side. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. We have an extendable ladder on the passenger side, additional cupped light switches for driver's side dump chute, rear scene lights, and rear dump chute. Also a direct fill. This is into the tank, ball valve, locally controlled. Porta tank and also ladder storage and pike pole storage. Warning regarding caps that may be under pressure while opening. Please use caution. Also, your rear inlet is located on this bottom section. Let's move just to the right of this location. You'll find some additional warning placard regarding entanglement hazard. You'll also find a do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also face the vehicle while climbing onto the vehicle. Directly in the center, you'll find your dump. At the very bottom section, you'll find these two warning placards indicating direct pull on those lower section tethers. Your powered equipment rack is for the ladders on the right-hand side of the vehicle. We'll talk about that in a moment. There are instructions for it. At the very top section of the cab, this is a non-walking surface. You do have a unit identifier E3. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find your master stream device. It is electronically controlled on the right-hand side of the vertical side sheet. This is the activation for it. General view of the dunnage and master stream device. Let's take a look at the booster line. You'll find that you have a tension free spool knob and then also a manual rewind location for the handle. Also a push button on the top side for rewinding. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Husky foam system. This is your hydraulic reservoir. At the very bottom section, you'll also find a placard indicating the type of hydraulic reservoir oil. This is the fill location. Let's take a look at the rear hose storage area. We have one single divider, also tanks for topside, tank A for your foam tank, also a placard indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure, and also a top fill location for your water tank. It is not necessary to have both of those open. You do have access from above. General view here of the passenger side with all compartment doors open. Let's go ahead and start to the rear. We have adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and also a pull-out tray on the lower section. This compartment also has a shoreline outlet. Once again, the very bottom tray will lock into the outward position. The release is located on the right. As we move to the compartment directly over the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage, adjustable shelving. In the center, you'll find your dump valve. Also, once again, Goodyear tires, steel wheels in the rear. Moving just forward of this location to the front axle is where you'll find an additional compartment, SCBA bottle storage, adjustable shelving. Let's move downward where you'll find this placard indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. Also, you have a real rewind foot switch located just in front of the exhaust tailpipe. As we move to the forward compartment, you'll find adjustable tool boards and also a folding ladder. At the very bottom section, rear inlet and manifold drain. As we move down to the notched area, you'll find your cross lay at the very top section. Same configuration and layout as you have on the driver's side. Two cross lays in the upper portion, cross lay 1 and cross lay 2. In the bottom section, a 2.5-inch cross lay, and then also backboard storage location. As we move to the notch area, let's talk about some of the warning placards in this area. First, this is your cab lift. We have some caution and danger information. Also have raise and lower cab information on the placard. Also a warning regarding fall hazard when climbing on the vehicle. Once again, always face the vehicle. As we move downward on the notch section, you'll find a pressure hazard indicating caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, because we have electric valves on this side, it's required to have an override, and this is where the tool would go into that location for overriding of those valves. Passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled ball valve. Large diameter is going to also be an electric valve, and there's an override. Let's go ahead and move into the cab area. Once again, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, manual window controls, and grab handles. As we move inside overhead, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights. Inside the cab area, 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing seats. As we move to the front axle, sight gauge located in the axle area, Goodyear tires, and steel wheel. Let's move into the officer space, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, manual window control. This vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. This is the location of that airbag. There's also a warning placard, do not mount anything within the area of the airbag. to the A-pillars where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Let's go ahead and take a look overhead in the officer space. We do have an additional switch panel on this side. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. First, we have front flood, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. The next set of images are going to be that of the undercarriage. As we move around to the passenger side, this is where you're going to find your powered equipment rack. Once again, instructions on the device itself, and then also some placard information regarding danger. This is to gain access to the 24-foot extension and 14-foot roof ladder. The next set of images are going to be that of in the engine compartment area with the cab tilted. Once again, congratulations, Ketchum Rural Fire Protection District, Idaho, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 36141. If you have any questions about your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.